Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. I'm going to show you how to change your rear brake pads on a 2006 Honda Odyssey. Now I'm not going to change the rotors on this one. We've still got plenty of life left there, and these are not completely worn down metal to metal, but they are starting to squeal, and I believe that the little metal noisemaker that's on the pad is starting to make contact with the rotor, causing it to make a little bit of a squealing noise and let you know that it's time to get these changed. Now the first thing I usually like to do is push this caliper piston back in so that there will be more room for the thicker new pad material. There's a few ways to do that. You can even just put a C-clamp here over the entire thing and press that in. That'll push that caliper piston back in. Or you can take it off and use this little pad compression tool. I've found that the easiest, quickest way is usually just to grab a screwdriver and put it in through this little window right here. You can see the screwdriver tip kind of coming through. And if you just pull that towards you, you can see that prying motion. That actually will force the caliper piston back inside the body of the caliper, which will push the hydraulic fluid backwards through the lines back up into the master cylinder. Now before you do this, of course, you want to pop the hood and verify that you have enough space inside the master cylinder to allow for that additional fluid. If it's at the top or near the top, you're probably going to want to take some of that old brake fluid out with a turkey baster, or you can even roll up a little paper towel to soak up some of that fluid and allow for the fluid that's going to be pushed back through. With the caliper piston pushed back in, we can loosen and remove these two caliper slide pin bolts, and those are a 12 millimeter. Now sometimes this slide pin will also spin at the same time, so you can throw a 17 millimeter open-end wrench on that, which will lock it in place or allow you to loosen that caliper slide pin bolt. Do the same thing down here. That's what those look like, and of course I'll just set that aside and we'll reuse that. And there's the top bolt there. Now you can just take the caliper off and just kind of set it up here out of the way. Now I'm going to pull out the old pads here first. Now you can see they're worn down, not completely metal to metal, but definitely not a lot of room left on there. Not much material left. Now on this inner pad, I think this is worth pointing out and worth noting. The owner of this car said that the noise that was happening all of a sudden went away. Well, if you turn this around, you can see that the little metal squealer that's supposed to be here, you can compare with the new pad, it's completely broken off. And so of course the noise is going to stop, but as you can see how thin the pad material is, of course once that's gone, then you're going to be rubbing metal to metal and ruin the rotor too. Now this brake kit also comes with new hardware here. So these metal clips, it comes with replacements. So we're going to pop these out, toss them, and we're going to replace those. Nowadays a lot of kits come with these, and they do wear out, so it is a good idea to replace those or change them out. Now it's easier of course to clean this space in here if I were to take off this caliper bracket, but I'm just brushing a little bit of this loose debris. Make sure you don't breathe in any of that dust. It's not good for you. And then we can just slide these new clips in place down here. Now I've noticed with the Honda ones, a lot of times you have to get a screwdriver in here in between the rotor. We'll do the top one here too. See, it snaps into place, but again, that middle part of the clip, I feel like you need to wedge something in the edge of the rotor to press on that and make sure that it's fully tucked in. Now before I put the new pads in, I also want to grease up these slide pins. So just pull those straight out. These ones aren't too bad, but we're just going to wipe off that old grease and put a little bit of this. This is Sil-Glyde. Very good brake grease. Doesn't take much. Just lube up that pin. And just pull it back in, you almost have to squeeze the rubber boot to burp some of the air out of there. Same thing with the lower slide pin. Just clean it all off. It's important that you use the type of grease like Sil-Glyde or a silicone-based grease. If you use a regular petroleum grease, it will eat the rubber and it'll cause these to get stuck. And you can wipe off any excess. Okay, so before we put the new pads on, I also like to put just a little bit of this Sil-Glyde brake grease on the back, very thin layer, and then a little bit at the ends, and then just position that inside these little clips. Make sure you don't get any grease on the surface of the pad. There we go. Same with the outside pad. Doesn't take much, just a thin layer of this grease, a little bit at the ends, and that's where it will ride inside these little metal clips. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of grease on there too. And then these, you kind of just angle them in, press them on. Now you can see here our caliper piston is pushed back in. Let's see if it's pushed in enough. Sometimes you still need to Sometimes I still need to use this tool to push it in the rest of the way, and it looks like I do in this case. It doesn't quite fit over the new pads. So this is just like a C-clamp. Just position one of the old pads here and turn that in just a little bit more. This caliper is so smooth I probably could just push that in with my hands, but let's see if that's enough now. Yep. So you kind of have to just pull on those slide pins to make sure that you can to fit this on completely, and then in order to line up these bolts, same thing, you need to lift that up just a little bit. And you're done. Just remember to torque everything to spec, and before you drive off, go ahead and step on the brake pedal a couple times, which will push this caliper piston back out, pressing those brake pads up against the rotor where they need to be, and then double check your master cylinder fluid level before you head out as well. Hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. I'll put a link in the description to the brake pads and a few of the tools used in the video as well. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.